full of terror. Your eyes are like a nightmare.
Hello, friends and enemies. Today we are going to talk about the 2021 album Abyssal by Drowned Men. Drowned Men is a 5-piece post-punk band from Belo Horizonte, Brazil, founded back in 2018. They've had a few random small releases, but this is their second full album after their debut album Bats from 2020. Something that is kind of fun is that this album, Abyssal, is available on their Bandcamp totally for free, and their other album, Bats, is available for name your price. So their music is pretty available for all of you out there. Yay! Before we get much further, please remember to like, leave a comment, and subscribe if you want more content related to goth music from Latin America. We have here a 10-song, 55-minute album. Sound-wise, this album is maybe a bit closer to those popular 2000s and 2010s indie alternative rock bands than your typical post-punk band, both because of the mellowness in the sound and the layers. This is likely in part because this is a 5-piece rather than a 4-piece with 2 guitars instead of just 1. This album also has a keyboard and a backup vocalist on some songs, courtesy of some people who aren't even technically members of the band. Having more instrumentation definitely adds another layer to what is typically thought of as a more simplistic, stripped-down genre. With that more instrumentation and layers of the sound that always gives the music a sort of soundtrack quality to me, I'm also reminded ever so slightly of Love and Rockets on some of the songs, so I wouldn't be surprised to hear that that is an inspiration as well. I think a lot of the sounds we get definitely put this in a different category than the typical goth band because we don't have that twangly guitar, droney bass, or male vocals that fall into either the creepy screech or the mumble. Instrumentally, they sound a bit more like a typical indie alternative rock band, but much darker. I'm not going to kick them out of the post-punk club just because they sound a bit different though, as first off, there is very obvious influence and similarity, enough to say that I think it still belongs there, and secondly, I'm glad to see that something is in the genre that sounds different because sometimes some bands in the same genre can get a little samey and repetitive, so it is nice to find a band doing something different. Lyrically, there is a pretty consistent theme going on. Oh, and all the lyrics are in English. I just realized that all of the Brazilian bands whose work I've talked about have sung pretty much exclusively in English. I'll make note to include a Lusophone Brazilian band just to diversify my content so you get to hear me meowing. Anyways, there seems to be a theme on this album. Going along with the title Abyssal, the abyss in question appears to be depression, loneliness, or general mental unease. The album is sandwiched by 2 songs entitled On This Halloween, but they are slightly different. They are less literally about the holiday of Halloween and using that as a symbol for a dark state of being, going back to the depression theme. There's a lot of references to emptiness and silence and endlessness going back to that album title, Abyssal. There is a song literally called The Abyss, so there's a more direct reference right there. On the other hand, there are references to feeling trapped or being locked somewhere, which maybe seems like the opposite of endless emptiness, but I guess that's the contradiction one faces in a state of horrible depression, that intersection between claustrophobia and agoraphobia, a feeling of being empty and open, but also trapped there. I think anyone who has ever been in this sort of situation mentally will find the lyrics quite relatable. Worry not, I don't think listening to this album will send anyone into despair on the same level as, say, Joy Division's Closer, because the sound being less heavy allows some level of release, so you shouldn't get too bogged down in misery. So that was my review. The song that you heard at the beginning was Silhouette. All the images you saw in this video were found on the band's Facebook account. If you think this album or this band is something you would like, I have all the links to all the places where you can listen to them or follow them on social media linked below in the description. I would like to remind you, in case you forgot, that this particular album is available to download for free on their Bandcamp, so you can listen to it an unlimited amount of times without paying a cent. If you do want to give them some financial support, their debut album, Bats, is available for name your price. If you want to follow me elsewhere on social media, my Linktree, which has links to all my social media accounts, is in the description as well. Until next time, bye now.
Standing there behind the